so for me, I'm like, if you just shift it and think like, what can I do with them? Like, how can I enhance my day as much as I am theirs? It kind of gives you more of a positive slant on it.
Because I get asked all the time, like, my wife's been fighting cancer for 2 years, and people are like, how do you stay positive? How do you like do what you're doing? And I'll be the first to say, like, it's not always just like, oh, this is so fun, you know? But it's like every morning I consciously recount over the last 2 years all the great things that have happened.
Yeah, community is huge because humans want to feel less lonely. They want to belong. That is the crux of a lot of things, whether it's a podcast or an in-person event. There's a sense of belonging when you either listen, attend, read, all the different ways we consume information and connect with others.
This is the UNSpecial podcast. Today I'm joined with Claire DePaulis. Claire, so much of your life is spent creating spaces where other moms feel seen, supported, and less alone. But behind the community you've built is your own story. A mom walking through challenges many people never see. And before we talk about SD Mom Walks, OC Mom Walks,
yes,
and self-care for the selfless,
yes.
Advocacy and self-care, take us back. What has your journey as a special needs mom taught you about strength, surrender, finding hope when life doesn't look the way you expected? Well, first, before we just went straight
You're like,
there.
I'm diving in. You better be ready.
How are you doing today?
I am doing well. I kind of look at June and July, as most people would, as kind of like the fun, the summer. For me, it feels like kind of like a breath. Most people look at the summer because they have older kids or different kids in certain ages out of school, and they're like, oh no, summer camps, all these things. For me, January through May was a lot on my plate. So I think for me, I'm looking more as like the summer is like
okay,
a deep breath of like relief.
Yeah. What's your summer vibe? Beach, hikes?
I love variation. I'm somebody that I like bringing my kids. I look at their childhood journey as my motherhood journey. So although in the special needs world, a lot of times people say you need routine, you need this, because of transitions and because of sensory overload, all these reasons that can come into scope. For me, what has always helped me as a mother, and I think as my children have grown, they're 3 little toddlers. I have a 4.5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 15-month-old.
Oh, gosh.
So I've just learned that variation and introducing them to new environments not only helps me, but helps them. So I'm totally somebody that's like, what park can we go to today? What, new cafe can we try? I'm just always kind of looking for things that are within, of course, their age range and something that they'll enjoy, but that also is a variation. So my vibe is just, what can we do today?
What would you say to the misconception that when you have kids, maybe it's just something I heard, I don't know. Yeah. But when you have kids, they get in the way, they put a pause on everything you want to do, and you just gotta.
I understand where that comes from. I think a lot of the times, whether it's neurotypical or special or medical needs, when you decide to become a mom, it's a brand new chapter. And when you're becoming a parent, it's like a new skill. So yeah. I think as an ex-control freak or something that's like a type A personality, but then motherhood has kind of pulled me to be more type B, because you do have to relinquish control, So I think when people talk about the contrast of what their life was before kids or what it is now, and kids getting in the way of doing certain things, it's more just about shifting your mindset of hey, my kids, I wanted to be a parent. There's so many people that don't even get that gift. And so for me, I'm if you just shift it and think what can I do with them? How can I enhance my day as much as I am theirs? It kind of gives you more of a positive slant on it. It really helps, get away from that it's negative or that it's so changed. But it's changed. Yes, it's a new skill, but you never, like, those pathways that could open up, those doors that could open up could be really positive and something that you as a woman or you as a parent or a man needed. So,
Yeah. Well, I've noticed lately there's like certain things I want to do, and then
yeah.
for so long in my mind I'm like, well, I can't do that because I got
Yeah.
four kids that I have to take along. But now I'm like, why can't they do that?
I know.
They can
And
just do it
sometimes,
with me.
yeah, sometimes it's timing. Like for me, one of the things that I struggle with, I really like nature. I really like hiking. Am I going to
Yeah.
bring a 4 or 3 year old and 1.5 year old and one that special needs and elopes on a hike in Yosemite or Lake Tahoe or Big Bear or Lake
Yeah.
Arrowhead? Probably not. But like, there's not to say that I can't have that like perspective that, okay, maybe I'll do that in 3 years or 4 years, or maybe it'll just look different in the sense that we're bringing one of our children, not all of them. So
Right.
that kind of helped me one time. My second mom, I call her, her name's Carla Bertola. She had 2 girls and a boy. And I brought all 3 over one time. And she was like, you could tell she was like,
So freaked
this
out.
is the circus. And she was like, I was like, so what did you do like to manage like what we're talking about? Like, what did you do to manage the things that maybe you thought you were going to do and what you didn't do? And she was like, Claire, sometimes I got a babysitter for one of them. It was like, I'm bringing 2 today and one of them staying back and doing something fun at home. And that also helped me with my perspective of the whole, like, oh, my life is so changed, or oh, this isn't what I thought it was going to look like. But really, I just try to stay away from that because I really do try to stay in, like, it's not toxic positivity, but it very much is like, I'm super grateful to be a mom. so,
Yeah.
so if it looks different than what I thought, that's probably a good thing because when people go into new situations or new skills and they're like, this is how it's going to be, this is how it's going to turn out, this is the outcome, it's like, you're almost setting yourself up for disappointment then, like
Totally.
having more of an open mind and being like, hey, I'm just grateful that I'm even able to call myself a mom or call myself a parent. That in itself can help a lot. So,
Right. And I've noticed too, like I really want my kids to surf. Like
mm-hmm.
I just want to when they're like 12, 13, 14, I just want to surf with them.
Yeah.
But for a while they wouldn't surf. They're like, no, I'm not going. And then I got on this gig like, well, if they just watch me, if they see me do things that I want them to do, then they're
Mm-hmm.
probably going to want to start doing them.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're slowly getting there. But even currently, the ice bath, I love going to the
Okay.
ice bath in the morning.
Okay.
And my
System
kids,
reset.
yeah, nervous system reset after the gym in the morning. But my kids watch me go in it. And yesterday I was making breakfast and I look out the window and they're all 3 in it. And I
How
was
warm
like,
is it?
oh, it was like 48 degrees.
Oh my gosh. The
I'm
coldest
like,
one that I've done is like 45. So I can't imagine a kid being in that.
yeah, my 4-year-old was shivering. It was funny. But I like, it hit me like, they just need, like, learning is, what's the phrase? Learning is caught, not taught. They
Mm-hmm.
just watch us. Obviously, it's different for families and moms on a special needs journey where their child has some more challenges to get to do those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Take me back. So you have 3 kids under 5, which is complete mayhem.
Yes.
Um, I have 2 under 5 right now,
Okay.
but that phase, they're all dependent on you. Like my
Yes.
9 and 7-year-old can like take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But under that, yeah. And your husband works away a
Yeah,
lot.
so he has a full time, in an office job, sometimes even, early morning call outs or, traveling overnight. So I call it like the full time working stay at home mom because
Yeah.
I think a lot of times in modern parenting, like people have the means to have full time help or put their kids in, some kind of Montessori daycare, all the different things that facilitate help. But I think in like our discussion of becoming a mom in my head, I was like, I really understand that they're only small for such a short time. So even though people are like, just spend the money now, like I did find a part-time babysitter. Like I do have my mom help me once a week. That's kind of shout out to my mom, best person ever, that has like made
And
working a corporate job and having 3 kids while building 2 mom communities, like the whole notion of like who's helping you, it was my mom. And it was
yeah.
now it's a part-time babysitter. So And then it's my husband when he gets home from work. So yeah, my mom, I like that she babysits because it gives me like she gives a new perspective on like what my day to day looks like. And that was what she said. She was like, Claire, it's not that it's like hard or draining or difficult. It's that their ages, they need a lot of assistance. They need you, they
Yeah.
need someone. And so that has also helped me because I'm like, when I'm in the thick of it, or I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm at my wits today. I just remember my mom's voice of being like, yeah, they need you. And then like I shift to like, what a gift. Like what a gift that somebody needs
Ah,
me.
that's powerful. Yeah.
So
I'm gonna remember that because there, I know what you're saying.
yeah.
Like last night, I'm like, I'm gonna lose it.
Yep.
I
Like
did
I'm
lose
here.
it.
I'm up
I
here now. Like it's at that point.
like I did lose it. Let's be honest. And
Hey,
then I,
it happens. We're human,
yeah,
Like
and then I felt bad immediately. So then I had to come in and apologize to my 9-year-old. And I'm like,
it's part
yo,
of it. The
you're having a hard
repair and the
time.
like
Yeah.
communication, that's part of it. Even when they're 2.5 and they just like this morning, he literally bit his brother's chunky little thigh. And I was like,
It
no,
looks
do not bite your brother. And then I
it
had to
looks
like sit him
appetizing.
down. Yeah. And I had like bruise. You can see it. It's visible.
Oh,
And I'm like sitting there, and again, it's like the repair. I'm like, okay, I just got mad and like reacted, but at the same time, I'm like, your brother he bit him because he was touching like a speaker, or a toy, or something that he wanted to play with, and I was just like, the things they teach us in the moment.
right. Oh man. So, which which one of your kids has special needs?
So my daughter
First. Okay.
Valentina. So I have Valentina who just turned 4 in April, Vincenzo, and Emiliano. So she was my first, which
That's
has
the Italian.
yes, very Italian Catholic on my husband's side. So my dream names were always like Evelyn and Everett, and then the 93-year-old Italian grandma was like, no, 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 no. The Italian names that you have on your shared note, yeah, that's the route.
Staying in the fail.
Yeah. So
All right. So what's she got going on?
Valentina, she does have autism. She does not have a formal diagnosis yet because of, as you know, as being an educator, being in this world, talking to so many parents, your book, your motivation behind all of this. It's a delayed system. It's a very interesting system is what I call it. And so when we moved to Orange County 2 years ago, she has been on the wait list at Chalk Autism. And then I found out she was on the wrong wait list. So she is not formally diagnosed, but all the signs are there. I am definitely one of those parents that have paid attention, not from a
Yeah.
milestone mama perspective, but just watching my daughter, trying to be in tune with her. And she did do everything late. She is very minimal speaking as a 4-year-old. Her adaptive skills are very low functioning, so it's been quite the experience to have that be my first rodeo per se, and then have 2 more kids directly after that, and kind of have it be a polarizing situation of like 2 motherhood experiences essentially. I mean, I
Yeah.
always say that your children are one of one. I never really went into motherhood, special needs or not, thinking that like, yes, there's a household format and there's a household way that you want to run your house or be a parent, but I really do think that like you have to look at your kids as one of one, because maybe your approaches for one isn't going to work for the next, and then the next. And so this as a dad of 4, you have to take different approaches, but it has been very polarizing in the sense of like my first time and my experiences with Valentina are very, very different than with Vincenzo and even now Emiliano. So yeah, it's kind of, I've seen a lot of content in the special needs world of like, it feels like a parallel universe, but you're in the same environment. And so that is crazy in the sense of like, for example, when you're like, Vincenzo, come back on the road, and he looks behind and he comes back. And then you look and go, Valentina, come back. And she doesn't come back. And she's literally eloping and running. And you're like, not only is that like an experience that's so granular that you're like, these commands per se or like requests are not being received the same way, but it's also like a safety thing. Like the number one thing that has always been the underlying tone that since they've become mobile is just safety. So
Yeah.
that level of like, we want to talk about nervous system, like the nervous system when having parallel motherhood experiences is interesting to navigate and
Totally.
dissect.
And so she's not in school yet. Is she
She
gonna go to
is.
school? Oh, she
She
is.
is, yeah.
Okay.
So luckily, similar to some school districts down in San Diego, up in Orange County, you're in the regional center until they're 3, and
Mm-hmm.
then they kind of phase out of the regional center. There's still like provisional services that you can get from the state level, but then the medical, the educational, and the regional center is kind of all looked at as 3 different buckets. So luckily, she did
Right.
get into a least restrictive preschool program for PK up here in Orange County, and now she transferred programs to a specialized autism classroom. So
Okay.
she is in a classroom of 10 kids, and they all have some kind of IEP or some kind of like, you know, distinction that they need some extra assistance. So
How's the IEP process going?
the IEP process is interesting. I kind of feel like I'm, as any parent, you're learning as you're going, whether your kid is neurotypical or not. With the IEP, it's just like an extra layer because,
Yeah.
there's this whole business now out there of people that are advocates, that are attorneys, that are, special needs parents themselves that have created businesses. And it's all for the sake of like helping parents like me that are in the beginning stages of understanding everything and learning everything. And I think for me, I'm just like, thank God I worked at law firms before. Like,
Yeah.
that was one takeaway that I was like, good thing I was like in the legal world before. And, I'm a special agent's daughter and a special agent's wife. Like, it kind of gives me that lens and just my own intrinsic approach to worldviews is, document everything, write everything down, ask questions. And that just is kind of the pieces where people use the buzzword in the special needs world of like advocate. Like, I think whether you're dealing with medical or special needs yourself, or you probably know this with your wife, you're always having to be an advocate in some way in your life. And so I think it's probably a divine intervention that my personality is already that way, that I'm already somebody that is, determined to go get her. I'm curious. I like to ask questions. So I think
Yeah.
it's helped me with the IEP process.
Well, you can sniff out when they're up to something.
Yeah, and I think too, it's just like with anything, people like to prey on you don't know what you don't know, and so the
Hmm.
more that you can create that knowledge, research, talk to other people, basically become a research and development person in your own child's life, the better it can help you with what you may be dealing with. And every school district is different, every school is different, every person that's even putting the report together is different. Every person that's behind your child's goals and their team is what they call it in the world of special needs. But
Is it a team though?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's a mixed bag, to be honest. Again, I look at Valentina's support system as one of one. Like,
Yeah.
you could speak about it as a team as a whole, but for me, I'm like, there's so many different things that we're dealing with here between speech and OT and play therapies and the aides that are overseen in the classroom and the teacher themselves. There's just so many layers to it that it's like to
Hmm.
even say like the blanket statement that Valentina's team is supportive or not is almost ignorant, because it's like, well, who are we talking about?
Yeah.
Who are we talking about? It could be one person's experience and approach is so vastly different than the other teammate of Valentina's. So,
Well, and it's such a system that I mean, I was a teacher, so I was on the other side of the table from
yes.
you, and it's such a system that the school districts have to go by,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone like we do so many I did so many IEP meetings
Mm-hmm.
where it just kind of like turns into routine and like
Yes.
you just get through them. But the biggest thing is when I would see the parents emotional, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, man, we're like we're talking about these parents' child.
Yeah.
And like this is not an easy conversation, especially when we get into the meetings and all the service providers would start saying like, "Oh, he can't do this, he can't do that," blah
Oh,
blah
yeah.
blah. And I'm like,
That's the most
like
daunting part.
where are our basic people skills?
Oh yeah, the soft
Like,
skills because of the part of the job or the expectation of the job has kind of masked like what we're
yeah,
actually the subject matter, the actual content of the meeting or of the report or of the self-reporting, which is a lot of what parents have to do. And then they get that report back and it's told to them. So it's like, I just told you all this and now
yeah,
you're reconfirming what I already know. And then it's like this circle conversation that it's like overall, yes, it is very desensitized in the sense of the approach. So
yeah. And that's why I came out with my IEP course, which I'll send to you because you're
yeah.
a VIP
Thank you. I always
insider,
say I need all the help I can get. So
VIP of the UNSpecial podcast. But the main message behind the course is essentially like parents have a voice. You are the most important person on the team,
hmm
even though it feels like everybody's against you.
hmm
And when you really break it down, like IEPs aren't as complicated as we think they are. I
hmm
mean, it's like 10 sections of a
Oh
legal
yeah.
document that all builds on itself.
Oh yeah. And
But
it's a
like,
little bit antiquated. It's like
yeah,
something that was created that hasn't progressed. So like I look at
no,
IEPs like I look at the DMV. Like
right.
I'm like, is anybody gonna like all these companies that have come out, like even your own, like your own guide, is there anybody that's gonna like create a little coalition called like the new IEP structure and then
Yeah,
we're gonna have a rollout? Like I would love that. And it's, I'm making a joke of it or light of it, but it's like I imagine that's how change starts in anything, just people being like, yeah, this
right. Like
this
this, let's get
isn't
with the
what
times here.
yeah.
What are some of the amazing things Valentina has taught you about yourself, motherhood through this journey that you probably wouldn't have learned otherwise?
I think just a deeper sense of gratitude. I think a lot of through not only being a community host and starting this group because of Valentina, she was in my stomach when I started SD Mom Walks. So
Oh, wow.
my sister to this day is like, how did you start a group sitting on your couch during COVID with not even a child Earthside? I'm like, well, as you know, the internet loves to sensationalize things. So like I wanted real life, real connection, advice, suggestions, tangible with my eyes, seeing what's going on. So I think through that, and then obviously through bringing Valentina into the world and coming into this world of delays and special needs and all these buzzwords of, the community itself and Valentina herself has taught me like just gratitude. It's so easy to compare. It's so easy to sit there and be like, what is my child doing and not doing? But for me,
Mm,
like health has always been something that is like number one. Like having your health is something that a lot of people take for granted and that they don't think about when they think
yeah.
about special needs. Because let's call a spade a spade. A lot of the times, these special needs kids are also medically,
Hmm.
altered in some way. There's some other issue going on. And so, who's to say, knock on wood, that that's not going to happen with Valentina? But, there's parents that they have a diagnosis and then all of a sudden their kid is having a seizure. And then there's a whole nother layer. And so, I think for me, I'm just she's taught me like true gratitude, true sense of like, wow, my child is happy. Her disposition for now, on most of the time, is very angelic and happy. And that is like really all I can ask for.
Yeah. That's, isn't it crazy when you go through something really difficult and just hardship, prolonged hardship, you really understand gratitude different than anybody who just like doesn't go through that stuff? Because
Yeah.
I get asked all the time, like my wife's been fighting cancer for 2 years, and people are like, "How do you stay positive? How do you like
Mhm.
do what you're doing?" And I'll be the first to say, like, it's not always just like,
No,
"Wow, this is so fun,"
no.
you know. But it's like every morning, I consciously recount over the last 2 years all the great things that have happened.
hmm
And it's like you have to sit in that space of gratitude, or else
Yeah.
the negative, it will overtake, and
Oh, yeah.
you will
And
go
I think
down.
just in hearing that and just thinking out loud is that there's gratitude, but then there's actually like practicing it. So I think for me, like when you have hardships, whether it's cancer, whether it's autism, whether it's a medical need, anything that could come up in your life, are you able to sit there with yourself and critically think and reflect? And I think because of the hustle and bustle and social media and technology and the pace of our world, it's easy to not do that. It's easy, like, who wants to sit there and ruminate, whether it's positive or negative? Like, most humans aren't by design going to sit there and be like, okay, I need to critically think right now and just think about this. And so I think that's another
Right.
thing that she's taught me is like, think about what you're feeling, think about what you're doing, reflect on it, be okay with whether it's really sad and dark
Yeah.
or is it really positive and happy and hopeful. And
Yep.
so, like, being okay, she's taught me to be okay with all of those emotions. And I've always been somebody that's like that. Like, I think that's kind of something that's intrinsic. And then there's like another part that you can learn that with an experience or learn that with maturity or over time or life experience. But for me, I think to have a child deepen that like intrinsic quality about you is powerful in itself because it is easy to get caught up. It is easy to, the
Hmm.
to-do list and the responsibilities and the negativity. Humans are negative, complainers by design. It's easy to do that. But when you pull yourself out of that and just sit and reflect and think and critically think at that, not just surface level thinking, like the actual, like being in touch with it. Um,
Right. And I mean, that's most people don't want to sit there and recount all those
no,
emotions.
no. They
Not
push
even
them to the
close.
side. They stuff them down. Like,
Yeah.
but that's not good for anyone. So.
And a big part of getting that stuff out is community.
Mhm.
Where was there a moment that you were like, I can't do this alone. I'm gonna create these communities, or like,
Yeah. So I think I just remember the moment I was texting. I'm really close with my sister, and she did everything before me. So she has a 7 and a 5-year-old and lives in San Marcos. And then my mom, I'm really close with her. My parents are like high school sweethearts. They're actually still in love. Like, I have a very strong sense of like nuclear family. And so when I became pregnant, I was like, who do I talk to about this? Of course, my mom and my sister, two people that have done it before. And I was like, how do you guys make friends in this stage? Like,
yeah,
people talk about how your friends don't change over time because of life, milestones like marriage or kids or, you know, cancer diagnoses, deaths of parents, all these things that can happen of your life. But I was naive in thinking that like it does change. Your stage in life can change who you're surrounded by. And so my question was just like, how do people make friends in a pandemic
yeah,
when they've gotten a positive pregnancy test? And so what was something that was like super, like something that I've always wanted and something that was so positive at the same time. And I'm sure even, 5, 6 years out of a pandemic, there's so many women that have that same feeling of like, I have a positive pregnancy test, I'm pregnant. I don't know a lot of other people that are pregnant and or in their first 3 or 4 years of motherhood. This is going to feel lonely. This is going to feel like this is daunting, but at the same time very positive and happy. So yeah, that was kind of the moment where I was like texting my mom and my sister and I was like, how do you make friends in motherhood? How do you And my sister was like, oh, I just posted on Facebook and went to coffee with some people and found some friends. And now my kids are starting PK and TK, so that's now they're my friends. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's like, yeah, but like during a pandemic, I'm talking about. Like,
yeah,
when
right.
people aren't meeting up, when
And
people are scared to go outside of their houses. This was only a year into COVID, so yeah, that was the moment. And then I think just again intrinsically, like I'm somebody that I my husband says this about me. He's like, you get energy from being around people.
yeah,
Like, not everybody's like that. Example, he's not like that. He likes connecting online through like Reddit threads and comments and like other ways that people have essentially made themselves feel less lonely because they feel connected in a technological sense or a media sense. But for me, I'm like very old school and very like 60-year-old in a 36-year-old's body, in the sense that like I want to get out of these four walls. I want to go and look at people in the eye. I want to see their nonverbals and their verbals and hug people. And that's just how I've always been. And so I was, my mom always made fun of me. She's like, you're the one in fifth, like in kindergarten, but the teacher said you could have taught the class. Like, you're just somebody that's social. And so just knowing that and getting the positive pregnancy test, I was like, okay, like, I'm sure there's other people that are feeling this exact same way. So my need turned into realizing that, yes, that was true. A lot of other people needed it too.
For everyone. So did you just throw out a post? Like, how did you rally all the moms?
Yeah, so I just started looking around, like Instagram back in 2021, to my knowledge at the time, or how I used it, was for like dining and experiences and travel. So like my algorithm was not community events, was not people meeting up, was not even influencers or content creators or anything like that. It was I love photography and nature and travel and dining. So that was my Instagram. So I didn't even start the Instagram page or the community in the first year. All I did was post on Facebook. So I started looking around and I was like, there's a lot of mom Facebook groups out there to connect people. And that was, before I had the notion that Valentina was autistic. But then I found out in both worlds, like, a lot of people use Facebook the same way that they used to use old forums or, anything that would connect people. Facebook was doing its job in that way. So I just started posting like my walks. They turned into like Tuesday, Friday was like the days that I did. And then once I had Valentina, it just evolved with what we were doing, what I would do on any given day. That's how I've approached it from day one. Is just like, what would I do with Valentina today? And then I would put it on a schedule and I would post on Facebook groups. And I did that for a year. And then I started like texting, people that would give me their numbers and just text them the schedule. That was just like written out on a note. I would put it on a cute little background and then like send it to people. So old school. And then, and then I joined like Peanut, because Peanut was a thing where moms were connecting, similar to like dating apps like Bumble and Tinder. Peanut was created for moms to swipe and find a friend that was, you would put your baby's age or if you're pregnant. And so I used that. They had like little forum groups in between Peanut. And so I would post the schedules there. And so it was very like, to this day, it's still very grassroots. Like, I've never paid for an ad. I've never, just any kind of like AI or Chat GPT. I don't use any of that for my captions or my content. Like, I'm very much just grassroots in the sense that like, this is what I planned because this is what I would want to do. And I'm going to put it up on, Facebook at the time. And then a year into it, I created the page, and I'm going to put it on an Instagram page because there's a lot of moms on Instagram, I learned, and then see what happens.
That's awesome. So it's been 5 years and now like there's an event every week.
Yeah, so I was crazy in the beginning because, when you're on maternity leave and you work a flexible, like, work from home hybrid job, I was like, I'll just plan, like, it's 2 hours out of the day. I'll plan and go on a walk and, grab a quick bite and then come home. And so before, it was like 8 to 10 events a month in SD Mom Walks. And then I was like, all right, once I moved to Orange County and created the second group, I was like, okay, what's manageable for me is once a week, because that's like the amount that I'm usually down there anyways because of my family. So yeah, in South Orange County, isn't far from like La Jolla to Oceanside. So yeah, it's like 5 events a month, usually like 30% mom only. And then, the other events are very like mommy and me centric. So.
Oh, okay. So there's some just mom. That's amazing. But the events are like, from what I see on Instagram, like they're big productions.
Oh yeah.
Like there's vendors and.
Oh yeah, like it's
how do you
turned into?
How do you have time?
I never thought.
Yeah, like where do you find the time to organize all that? That's like every week too.
I think like for me, it's just in my blood. Like, because I was the girl that was like planning the happy hours and planning the birthday celebrations and always bringing my family together. And like, even before I was a mom, I was just always, like I said, because I gained that energy from like being around people. I was always the one like in the friend group chat being like, okay, what are we doing for this person's birthday? Or, hey, do you guys want to go do this? Or with my family, I'm like, who's free on this day to go do this? Or let's get together at mom and dad's house. And so I think just my approach to my free time or my calendar is like, okay, how can I get people together? And so,
Okay.
whereas it might, from the outside looking in, for somebody that's not their innate skill, they're like, that's super hard. Like, that is, yes, I will admit, it's a lot of work. Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But between getting the energy from being around people and that helping my maternal mental health and becoming a mom,
Yeah.
I also just find it to be very fascinating that we live in a very technological world. And yes, I put the schedule on technology, but like, to get people out of their house and have them to have something to look forward to, I'm doing that too. Like, in my creative
Right.
brain of curating these events and thinking of things that I want to experience as a mom, and then, having other moms, essentially inviting other moms to do it on a page. That's the whole point for me. Like, it's helping me too. I get to look forward to something. I get to meet new people. I get to use my creativity and my love for seeing people connect and me connecting with other people. So it really is like a mutually beneficial two-way street that when I look back, yes, it's been 5 years, and from the naked eye, it might be like, wow, this is quite the, like, even the OGs, I call them, the people that have come from the beginning, they're like,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
believe this. Like, they look out on the, wherever the space is, and there's 100 moms here plus their kids. That's
Yeah.
200 bodies. And I'm like, I know, like, it still lives me in awe, but like, I always go back to, like, one mom got out of the house. Like, my first walk was 7 moms. And those
Yeah.
7 moms,
Yeah.
I like to think like their week or their motherhood experience in that month or week was enhanced because
Yeah.
of showing up and doing
Totally.
something that's like during a time where nobody was meeting up. I like to think that, 5 years later, the same way that I feel that my motherhood experience has been changed, that the people that have attended my events, whether it's one time or 100 times, they can say the same thing. So
Yeah. And I mean, community is such a big thing. And the common, easier thing to do when, especially say you get a diagnosis or you're struggling as a first time mom, whatever the hardship is, the easiest thing to do is to go numb and isolate, which when you say it and you think about it, you're like, why would you do that? But it's just the easiest thing to do.
yeah.
But like putting yourself out there and getting to a mom walk, um, you know, what is it? Fear hates action. So if you just take some action, you
Yeah.
can really start to change some of the trajectory you're going on. So then self-care for the selfless, that started recently.
Yes. So, because I was a full time working mom and because I was having 2 kids directly after Valentina, as
Yeah.
you can imagine,
Yeah.
there wasn't much room to add another thing on my plate between the
No.
the 10 events a month, the 2 groups, the
Right.
full time job, and being pregnant back to back after her. So, I think for me, just like when I was pregnant and I always knew I wanted to be a mom, and I was looking around thinking, it felt very full circle, actually, now that I'm saying it out loud. Like, it felt very full circle in the sense that the same way that I was feeling when I got pregnant with Valentina is the same way 4 years later I was feeling when I was looking around, and I had hosted over 250 events, brought thousands and thousands of women together, met so many people, and watched so many people either have their first child or their second child, and gotten to know them and heard stories. But one thing that always like stuck out was, I'm watching something that I'm curating and creating something that I'm not really experiencing. So
Mm.
when I'm watching, somebody that I was pregnant with, that we had babies in the same month, and I'm watching her daughter run up to her and reach for her and say, Mommy, I want to go on the slide. I've never heard that. I've
Mm.
never I've never experienced that. So like, to look at we had babies in each other's tummies together, and just again like a parallel motherhood experience. I was like, this person is always going to be my friend because we had babies together. But, you know, the whole community piece, like you were saying, community is so huge now. Yeah, community is huge because humans want to feel less lonely. They want to belong. That is
Hmm.
the crux of a lot of things, whether it's a podcast or an in person event. There's a sense of belonging when you either listen, attend, read, you know, all the different ways we consume information and connect with others. But for me, I was like, there's community and there's connecting, but there's like understanding and actually relating. And that was something that was a huge, huge gap in the last 3 or 4 years for me. So that's how self care for the selfless came about, because I was, again, that same feeling looking around and being like, where are the special needs moms? Is anyone meeting up? Like, is there a consistent place that I can, the same way that like moms look at my page and have a monthly schedule that they could refer to have as an option, as a place to turn to? Where is that for me right now and what I'm experiencing? And so, you know, there were a few that popped up, but one was all the way down South San Diego. Another one's all the way near the Chalk Autism Center in Orange. And so I was like, there's, you know, a few have popped up in South Orange County, but they're like on a Monday at 9. And I'm like, okay, like, yes, there's some options, but they don't necessarily, like, they're either not my vibe or they're not working
Yeah.
with the timing of my schedule. And so I was back at that place. It felt very full circle in the sense of like, okay, well, if I'm not seeing it around me and there are options that maybe aren't aligning with me, then I'm going to create it.
Yeah.
I'm going to create the space and see what happens and kind of, again, throw spaghetti at the wall and do it very organically. But
Then the first event, there was like, it sold
40 people.
out. 40
Yeah.
moms.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that like gave me kind of the push, because it is very daunting, again, to put yourself out there and be like, this is a
Hmm.
need that I have and I bet there's other moms that need it too. And so I was like, you know, my husband was like, well, why don't you just create something the same way that you did SD Mom Walks and OC Mom Walks? Like, come up with something that aligns with what you would already do anyways. So,
Yeah. That's awesome. So how many events have you had? There's one a month.
so we've done 5, I think, so far. So February, March, April, May. Yeah. So we've done 4.
Okay.
And then part 5 is coming up this Sunday. We're going to do stroll and social. And it's just going to be an easy, like, beach walk north side of the pier and Oceanside. We'll go to brunch at the Mission Pacific Hotel.
Okay.
And I don't know, the way that I've planned them and the way that I presented it at the launch event was just, I want something, the self-care part and the for the selfless part, it's very much like how I view other special need and medical moms. Like, yes, you are selfless when you become a mom. That's like a given. That's kind of
Hmm.
part of it. I mean, not for everyone, but I mean, most parents, you have to a certain degree, be very selfless. And so I think that missing gap of like self care for parents, whether you have
Yeah.
neurotypical children or not, it kind of falls by the wayside. And so I'm like, I really just want something that is that kind of feeling of the, like, just let's reset, even if it's for an hour or two. Let's just like do something that we can reset and connect at the same time. So we've done like rooftop yoga and a resort day. We've done, you know, a P-Volve class in Carlsbad. We did a sound healing like session with a little like breakout area where like 4 moms sit and talk to each other about what they're struggling with right now and what is like a triumph or something that they've succeeded with their child in the last month. And so that's where the creative piece comes in, of not only just doing things that I would want to attend, and but it's also like thinking of things that would bring people closer together in this community, of really
Hmm.
being able to, like I said, like there's community and connection, but then there's the piece of actually getting to the nitty gritty of like relating and understanding another mom. That's, they could have a child that has, you know, a 24-year-old with autism, and then you're in the beginning of it where you have a 3-year-old, and who's to say like those people could connect and relate and understand each other. So really just resetting the nervous system and taking some
Yeah.
time.
That's huge. Why do you think it's so easy for self care to go by the wayside? I mean, you get busy like taking care of everyone. It is easy to overlook yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I hear one of the biggest fears of parents is outliving their child, and then what happens to the child after they go.
Mhm.
And my like immediate thought is the easiest way to combat some of those fears is just be healthy yourself and live as long as possible.
Oh yeah. I think with parenting and special needs parenting, medical parenting, like it's by default that you have a lot of intrusive thoughts. You have a lot of
Yeah.
things that come into the scope that maybe weren't there before. And I think the way that I've always mitigated those, just as somebody that is very high functioning and somebody that likes to have a lot on her plate and somebody that's an overanalyzer and overthinker, is that self care piece. And that looks different for everyone. You know, like for my husband, he just likes to sit there and read Reddit threads on things that he really cares about.
Mhm.
And to him, that's his version of self care because it calms him and then feels connected to people that are talking about things that he likes. For me, it's getting outside and moving my body and getting some fresh air.
Yeah.
Another thing that my husband loves to do is go to the gym and lift really, really heavy weights. That's usually like a man thing, and that sounds like surface level, but that really helps him like self-care for himself. And so that is, how I kind of thought of this group was
Yeah.
what why are people putting self-care, and even though it looks different for a lot of people, I want to create a space where maybe their version of self-care that's maybe not working or that is just redundant or mundane, I want to connect the two of introducing another type of self-care and then bridging the gap of the connection piece of getting people together that understand each other.
Yeah. That's huge. That's huge. I live like 2 miles from the Oceanside Pier. Maybe
Oh
I'll see
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
What would you say to the mom listening right now who's just exhausted and wondering how the heck am I going to keep going?
Um, I think two things. One thing I'll just say from my experience, because I'm no expert. Again,
Yeah.
everybody deals with exhaustion and being tired. It's like a level of torture,
Yep.
they, that's so I think for me, one thing that I've always is just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Even if you're really tired, like one day your one foot in front of the other could be full of energy and you got 10 hours of sleep and no one woke up and your thoughts weren't ruminating while you're searching things in bed for the next IEP meeting or the next therapy. um, it may look different, but just keep putting one foot in front of the other. That's what's
Hmm.
helped me. And then the other thing is just um, that has always helped me when I'm super tired and having these children back to back and navigating this new world of autism. And I think is just think about the mom that wishes that they were holding their baby right now. And that sounds like really sappy and really cliche, but I am a very sappy person and that truly helps me. Like I think of the mom that wishes they were sitting
Uh,
next to their child that
yeah.
maybe is having IVF struggles or had a loss or all the different ways that somebody could be wanting to be a mom but can't be a mom or was a mom and is no longer a mom. um, those thoughts really really help me when I'm tired, and that could somebody could easily say like that's super negative, Claire, that's a little that's a little much. But like for me it just motivates me in the sense of like again getting back to like what I truly care about, which is health and
Hmm.
which is gratitude. And those
Yeah.
two things, I think, the levels of hard will change and will evolve, and things will happen in our life as a couple and as a family and as a parent to Valentina. But I think if we keep those at the forefront and at least try to when it's at its hardest or when it's at your tiredness, your last level of tired per se, I think it can go a long way. So
That perspective is everything. What's we'll finish it with this. What's like your hopes for Valentina's future?
my hopes is that the same little girl that I see now being so happy and healthy and existing in this world as kind of like I call her like my little light, my little intro to motherhood and the one that made me a mom, but also just that perspective of like, this little girl is so happy-go-lucky. She is so sweet. And like,
Yeah.
who knows, that might not be it forever, but I hope that I always see that in her, no matter how old she is. I hope I always get little glimmers of what I've experienced in the last 4 years. So
That's so good. That's it. Health, hope, and community.
yep.
Gratitude.
Yes.
So all right. How can somebody find you? How can they sign up for a primarily self-care for
Yes. Self-care for the selfless. So
Selfless, or even SD Mom Walks, all of it?
yeah, I mean, whether, if you're a mom in Orange County or San
Yep.
Diego, I usually host events from Newport to San Clemente or Oceanside all the way down to like Point Loma area. So SD Mom Walks and OC Mom Walks are the handles on Instagram. That is usually where I put the monthly schedules, all of the event flyers with the details. And then usually all of my RSVP links are in the bio. So I have started also to post on all the autism and special needs Facebook groups as well. So if you don't have an Instagram or you're not connected on that platform for social media, I do the Facebook groups. So
Okay.
join one of the local ones in SoCal. I've tried to put all of my postings and whoever accepts it and will let me market them. That's where you can find them. So
And do you sign up or just show up?
So I use the RSVP links just so that I have like head counts or like gauges
Yeah.
on who can come. And then I usually email all the attendees. So yeah, I like to do that just for the sense, because I am driving all over the place of knowing like who's going to be there. But yeah, I usually just RSVP through a link. So
Okay. There you have it. Find Claire. Thank you. Thank you so much for being on. That was awesome.
Yeah,
Community.
thank you for all that you do. I am just getting into this world in the last year of really diving in with 2 feet. So I do want to say thank you for not only using your experience with, your schooling and you being in the education world, but now also being vulnerable online about your wife and your journey as a dad to 4 kids. I think a lot of the times when you're a podcast host or a community host, like those thank yous and that recognition doesn't come, or it's few and far between. So I just want to say thank you for reaching out, spreading the word about this series, learning a little bit more about me, and just doing what you do for this world of special needs parents.
Well, I appreciate it. It's easy. I don't know. I enjoy it. It's like you said, like you draw energy from the people and all the gathering. That would probably suck my energy out. But hosting the podcast in this space and hearing from parents like and how you go about your journeys, it's like, that gives me energy. So
Thank you.
likewise. Thank you again so much for being here. We love these conversations and we hope you do as well. If you are enjoying what you're hearing, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. We don't make any money off of this. We do this simply for you, the parent, and our goal is for many parents to hear these conversations as you have. So if it's landed with you, if the UNSpecial platform is landing with you, make sure to find us on Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and share with your friends. Like, subscribe. That helps get the reach out there. Thank you again for being here.